Okay, hello. We are going to look at a perimeter now for the focus of our next lesson. We're going to talk about perimeter of circular and non-circular figures. The focus of this particular video is going to be on non-circular figures. So in order to do this, let's get a working understanding of what the word perimeter means. So perimeter, the Greek and Latin word roots for perimeter are peri, all right? And peri stands for around. And then in Latin, it was metros, and in Greek, it was metron, and they both mean measure. So perimeter simply means the measure around something, all right? The measure of what something is around it, so on the outside of it. So when you talk about the perimeter of a figure, you're always talking about the outside of the figure, and you're talking about the distance to go completely around that figure. So if you've got, some shape like that looks all, wackadoo, like, this, right? If you start here, right, you're gonna go all the way around the entire shape, and the perimeter would be that distance that it takes you to go all the way to get back where you started. So that's what perimeter is. I'm just going to preface this next page saying I personally am not a giant fan of throwing all these perimeter formulas at you for these figures in particular, because I don't think you need them. All right, rectangle, you know that the rectangles, there's two sides that are the same. You still just need to add them all up. And if you want to add them up using this formula, what they give you, then you can do that. Or you can just understand that you need to total them all. And I'll let you figure out how you want to do the math. And that's kind of how I approach it. And same thing with a square. Squares are easy because if you know one side, you know all of them. Hopefully you're at a point with math where you understand it's a lot more efficient to multiply that one side by 4, because there's 4 of them, than it is to add it 4 times. But essentially you're doing the same thing. And if you feel more comfortable adding it, then knock yourself out. The multiplication's faster, but do what you're comfortable with. Triangles, similarly, this really isn't a formula, it's just added up. So, if you start over here and you go all the way around it, you add all those sides up. Same thing with a parallelogram, which looks kind of like a rectangle shoved over, all right? All you need to know with parallelograms is that this side and this side would be equal to each other, and then this side and this side would be equal to each other. And when we're looking at those hash marks, that's what they denote. This denotes that that's equal to that. And then this one right here denotes that this one is equal to that one. And then the square one denotes that all the sides are equal. That's why they're all single hash marks. So that's what that means when they're doing that, all right? So let's just look at a couple of problems, all right? The perimeter of each figure, all right? So number 1, right? Number 1, we have... well, if I look at the hash marks, it's a square because they're all the same. So if it's a square, I know that I have 4 sides and each side is the same, right? And each side is 5. So it would just be 4 times 5 and would give me 20. And because it's perimeter, it's still just the same unit that they start with. So that didn't really work very well. So it'll be meters. So 20 meters, all right? Number 2, well, you've got a rectangle, and I know it's a rectangle because I've got 90-degree angles in all of them, and I know that I've got 2 sides that are equal to each other, and then another 2 different sides that are also equal to each other. So we've got 8 and 11. So the way I would do this is I would say, well, I have 2 sides that are 8, and then I'm going to add that to the 2 sides that are 11. All right, and that would give me 16 plus 22, which is 38. And then my measure on that one is kilometers. All right, now if you wanted to do that like 8 plus 11 plus 8 plus 11, hey, that works too. All right, and you can do, 19 plus 19, and you get to the same place. I don't really mind how you do it, just as long as you kind of get at the right answer. Parallelogram is going to be almost exactly the same technique as we had with the rectangle. So we're going to go, okay, I have two sides that are 18. All right, I did circle that. You just can't see it because it's in white. So two sides that are 18, and then I have two sides that I'm adding to it that are 27 inches. So that gives me 36, which is what 2 times 18 is, and then 54. And then if I add those two together, I get 90 right on the nose, and it's 90 inches. And then number 4 is just, start somewhere. Doesn't matter, so if I'll just I'll do this one first. So I've got 9 plus, and then let's do this one, plus 12, and then plus this one, plus 15. And then just add them up. You get 21 plus 15, it's 36. All right, so these are pretty straightforward, not complicated. There's a whole bunch more problems here. I don't know if I need to go through these, but I'll just help you set them up. So number 5, a square with side length 8 inches. So it's 4 of them, and they're at 8, right? So 32 inches. Number 6, a rectangle, right, with length 9 centimeters and width 3 centimeters. So you got two sides that are 3, so you got 3 plus 3, and then you got two sides that are 9. All right, which is the same as 2 times 3 plus 2 times 9, which is 6 plus 18, and that gives you 24, and then your measure is centimeters. 7, triangle with sides 4, 13, 12. I'll just draw it, but you really don't have to. But 13, 12, 4, just add them up. So you just go 4 plus 13 plus 12. Well, 4 plus 12 is 16. 16 plus 13 is 29. And that would be feet. And then 8, parallelogram side lengths. Well, the side lengths, it's a parallelogram. So this side's equal to this side, and then this side's equal to that side. So you have two sides. Well, this 6 and a 4th side would be here, right? And then 5 would be here. So you got two sides at 5, and then plus two sides at 6 and a 4th. All right, so the two sides at 5 would give you 10. If this was just 6, it would be 2 times 6, which would be 12. And then what we can do is we can do the 2 times 1/4, which is 1/2, right? So then just add that all up. So that's how I broke that fraction up to make it a little easier. And then you get 22.5. All right, that's all there is to it. Just go around it and add them up.